7K taps. So we are getting there. But I'm itching to spill this tea. I'm itching. All right, just to recap, welcome in. My name is Marika Goolsby. I'm a former foster youth and adoptee. I talk all things foster care and adoption Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Today is Money and Politics Monday, where I have some information to share that we need to talk about as far as money and politics. And today is Monday, so that's the day for it. We're at 8.1K. We are so close. We are so close to our 10K taps. The first 10 minutes of the live really should be focused on letting the people know you're running late, the live is started. You're running late, the live is started. Come on, come on, come on. Get up in here. So that's what I'm trying to encourage. We didn't get it done in the first 10 minutes, but maybe we can get it done in the first 15, right? Let me see. We have, well, I guess not, because we're at the 15-minute mark now. We have 8.8K taps. But this is important to talk about because there is money and politics involved in foster care and adoption. It is a multi-billion with a B dollar industry, and those billions are not being used properly. It's lying in people's pockets, and that is just saddening and disappointing. That is for sure true. Let me see. Okay, we're at 9K. We're about to get into the story. We have 3 people in the room. If all 3 people can do a power share is when you hold down the screen and then you get a white box with the list of names and the word share on the side, send on the side, and just push send all the way down. If all of us do this power share, we probably can get our numbers up, get us on the FYF for you feed so people can know the class has started. We have officially started, and you do not want to miss out on this information that I got for y'all. So yeah, ain't nothing to it but to do it. Screw it, let's do it. Ooh, I'm hot. Let me see. Oh, here we go. People say they want the latest and greatest news. So that's what I'm bringing. The latest and greatest news. And y'all wanted to hear about this. Because like I said, it's like a good piece of candy. You know, it starts off good and then it has a nasty aftertaste. You'd be like, ooh, I don't want that candy no more. You really just don't be wanting it no more. I know that's how I am. It's like, oh, it's good, but then you have this weird, All right. So we got Tina, EM, and Sweetheart in the room. And now me, myself, my backup. Okay, we're close. 9.6. Ow, 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 ow. 9.6. So this is good. 9.6. Let's go. 9.9. Almost. Okay, let me get the story on screen because I want it to be accurate. And this is gonna be a woo! All right. Yes, 10.1K. Let's get into it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Screw it. Let's do it. Okay. So this is going to be an interactive situation. I will be asking questions. I do want people to respond in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. So the first question, before I even spill the tea, is who is Rick Jackson? Put a number 1 in the chat if you know who I'm talking about. There should be, or put a number 2 in the chat if you don't. So 4 people in the room, I should be seeing a total of 4, either 1s or 2s in the chat. 1, if you know who is Rick Jackson. 2, if you don't know. Thank you, Tina. I appreciate you participating. All right, all right. Tina says, I don't know who this is. Let me see who else we got. Sweetheart, do you know who Rick Jackson is? And you're missing your daily heart, me. EM, do you know who Rick Jackson is? Let me get a 1 or a 2 in the chat. I need a response. I do love a call and response. Let me look at my other screen to see if we got any responses. Okay, EM says 2. We have 2 2s. Sweetheart, 1 or 2. 1 or 2. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I saw it. I saw you put a 2, EM. Thank you. Oh, you saying you had already and I didn't see it? My bad, darling, if I missed your 2. Okay, so put a 1 in the chat if you know who is Rick Jackson. Put a 2 in the chat if you do not know who Rick Jackson is. Before today, I would have been putting a 1 in the chat. Actually, no, I take that back. Before last night, when I was doing my investigative research, I would have put a 1 in the chat. But today, no, I would have put a 2 in the chat. Ay. But today I can say 1, I know who Rick Jackson is. All right, here we go. Who is Rick Jackson? Billionaire with foster care backstory who is running for Georgia governor. It sounds good, doesn't it? It sounds good. When I first saw that, I was like, okay, a former foster youth running for governor. That is really something. It almost makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside, right? Former foster youth runs for Georgia governor. Put a 1 in the chat if that makes you feel a little warm and fuzzy inside. Like it did me when I first read it. That's the sweet part of the candy. All right, let me see some 1s in the chat. Hey, Molly and the Minis, welcome in. Tina said yes. EM says yes. Molly and the Minis, put a 1 in the chat if this headline makes you feel warm and fuzzy and hopeful inside. Billionaire with foster care backstory runs for Georgia governor. Do you know about this? Do you even know who Rick Jackson is? Put a 1 in the chat if you know who Rick Jackson is. And the headline makes you feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. That's what I want to know. I'm asking Molly and the Minis because that's who just came in just now. No, but I'm scared because it's Georgia. Right. Okay, so Molly and the Minis is like, I don't know who that is. Maybe because a former foster youth. Yeah, exactly. It made me feel warm and fuzzy because I was like, oh, a foster youth is running for something. But all right, now remember I told you this story is like candy. It's so sweet, but then it has a nasty aftertaste. It does. It has a nasty aftertaste that makes you not want to eat that candy no more. I need to know more before I decide. Right. But the billionaire is questionable. Well, see, his story is like a rags to riches. You know, I was in foster care and I was poor and boom, now I'm a billionaire, from foster care to billionaire. And I'm running for governor of Georgia. And at first you think like, oh, wow, that is so cool. He must be hardworking. He must be whatever, because that's the way the story reads. All right, so let's get into the first paragraph, shall we? I think we shall. The messaging is everywhere these days in Georgia, on billboards, online, and in newspapers. Candidate Rick Jackson sums up his life in a few words. Foster care to billionaire. Make you say, Like I said, this candy started out sweet, but it's going to go bad aftertaste real quick. All right, here we go. Since making his political debut in February, Jackson, CEO of a multi-billion-dollar healthcare company and former foster youth, has quickly established himself as a powerful dark horse candidate. So, right? Dark horse candidate meaning this is some, like, he kind of came out of nowhere. Nobody even knew about him. Nobody knew that he wasn't on nobody's radar. So that's why they're saying dark horse candidate. Reportedly infusing more than 50 million of his personal wealth in the race. 50 million. Remember, he used to be a former foster youth, and he has a rags to riches story. Jackson has consistently outpolled his 7 Republican competitors. There go that nasty aftertaste. So he's a multi-billionaire and a Republican. For me, that's a nasty aftertaste. For somebody else, that might be something to celebrate. I don't know. Most of whom hold positions in the Georgia government. The May 19th primary is Tuesday. Oh, wait. Okay, so this is some months old. It is from this year. I try to get the latest and greatest, but I still think it's worth talking about. And then, okay, next question. Do you get what I am talking about as far as the candy started out sweet and then it has a nasty aftertaste? Put yes or no in the chat if you're feeling what I'm feeling after hearing this. Are you feeling what I'm feeling after hearing this? All right, I'm looking for some yeses and nos, at least 3, yes or no. Because you know our number's been going up. We were up to a 7 at one point, but people didn't want to tap, so they left. But maybe they'll come back. Thank you for that yes. Thank you for that yes. Let me see who we got. We got Tina, EM, and myself. So you already know it's a yes for me. All right, let's continue. All right, in a March Instagram video, he hugs a foster mom of 9 during an election rally, calling it one of the best moments of the campaign so far. So he is really, thank you for your daily heart me. Yeah, he is really like leaning into this. So yeah, we are talking about money and politics because today is Monday, and I've been dropping this tea, candy really, that starts out sweet and gives you a nasty aftertaste. So I've been asking people, do you know who Rick Jackson is? If not, he is a billionaire with foster care backstory and running for Georgia governor and he is a Republican. So that's what I mean about it starts out sweet, because you hear former foster youth running for governor, you're like, wow, that's awesome. Like most former foster youth are not like running for political office. So, I mean, I was one, but it's a rare thing. All right, so he says, foster parents are true heroes, but most of them don't have a checkbook big enough to buy influence. So, exactly, I did. But, so right there, that's like a nasty aftertaste in your mouth, that his thinking is like, you know, more, oh, really? I didn't remember that. EM, I didn't remember, and one of your opponents too. I didn't remember that. So that to me is a nasty aftertaste, that he already has the mindset of people needing to have enough money to buy influence. All right, so those are the Georgians I'm fighting for. So he's fighting for people. So yeah, I don't think so. I think he had a rough upbringing, but I don't think he was in foster care. So yeah, he's fighting for Georgians that don't have a big enough checkbook to buy influence. I think that's a red flag. That is like a bitter, nasty aftertaste to the candy. The candy being that he is a former foster youth that is running for governor, but then he's a billionaire and a Republican. All right, let's continue. His supporters also highlight his background. Jackson is a remarkable business leader who was a foster child and has spent years helping foster children. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich said on X in February. So listen to who his supporters are. That's more bitter aftertaste. So now this candy is just nasty. There's nothing good about it. Connects to adoption and foster care. You talking about Houston? Because as far as I know, he had a rough childhood, like, you know, getting into trouble and things like that. But I don't think that he was a foster youth. I could be wrong. Hi, Alana, welcome in. So right now we are talking about Rick Jackson, from foster care to billionaire, who is running for Georgia governor, and he is a Republican. And this story starts off sweet and goes no to Melody. Thank you for sharing the live with 5 or more friends, Alana. I appreciate you. Hi, Melody. How you doing? Welcome in. Yes, today is Money in Politics Monday. We are talking about this story that I found, which starts off sweet. Okay, it starts off sweet, and then it goes bad, and it has a nasty aftertaste, and it goes really bad. It's a nasty aftertaste that is lasting, okay? So Rick Jackson, billionaire with foster care, billionaire from foster care to billionaire, and now running for governor. And he is really using his lived experience to say that, you know, foster parents don't have a big enough checkbook to influence elections. So he thinks money should be used to influence elections. That's what I'm hearing, which is problematic in my opinion. All right, let me see what else we got here. All right, yet to date, Jackson has not outlined specific policy ideas for reforms related to Georgia's child welfare system. So he talks a good game, but he don't have nothing outlined. He and his campaign did not respond to multiple interview requests. Oh, so it's like you're leading with this. Like, look at me. You're holding yourself out like the poster child of what foster youth can accomplish. Like, look at me. I was poor and down and out, and I worked super hard. So that's bootstrapperism. I worked super hard and I pulled myself up by my bootstraps, and look at me now. I'm a billionaire and I'm running for governor. And that is just problematic for so many reasons. All right, let's continue. Let's continue this tea. During the live television debate in April, neither Jackson nor any of the other 7 Republican gubernatorial candidates discussed child welfare issues or the recently highly publicized $85 million budget crisis within the Division of Family and Children's Services. So how you gonna be really leaning into the fact that you were a former foster youth that became a billionaire through your hard work and hard struggle, and now you're running for governor, and not have a plan for child welfare, not have a plan for the foster parents that you say out your own mouth are heroes that need to be supported, that they need bigger checkbooks to be able to influence political processes. But you're running to be governor based on your lived experience, but you don't want to have a plan or anything. Like it ain't lining up. It ain't matching up, period. Okay, what else? Okay, director Candace Brose, I might be saying that wrong, faced heavy scrutiny for scaling back contracted services for foster youth and families in response to the emergency. Lawmakers who had to allocate extra state funds to patch the hole later passed bills seeking more oversight of the agency's financing. To me, that should be a lot for him to talk about. That should be a lot for him to talk about, since he's really leaning into, look at me, I'm a former foster youth. I became a billionaire based on my own hard work. Why, like, if you're gonna lean into it all the way. Let me hear your policy and your ideas about how you're gonna make corrections to a system that is like failing so many. How about that? All right, so this is something that he said out of his own mouth, that this article is quoting him. What state is everyone in? Yes, is anybody here in Georgia? Hey, Care Bear, welcome in. We are talking about Money in Politics Monday, and we have been talking about a piece of information that I found online that I want to share with y'all, because it's like a good piece of candy with a nasty aftertaste. Like, it starts out so sweet and so good, but then you got this nasty aftertaste. So I'm just recapping real quick. I asked everybody, do you know who Rick Jackson is? Most people never heard that name, Rick Jackson. So he is a former foster youth that, through his own hard sweat, work, and tears, right, was able to become a billionaire, and is now running for Georgia governor, as he's a Republican. So you see what I'm saying? The candy started out sweet and then it turned real nasty fast. Real fast. And, you know, he's being deemed as a dark horse in this race, because most people had never heard of him, really. He's been kind of like working his magic in the background, not really being on the forefront until now, that he's really kind of heavily leaning into, like, I'm a former foster youth. Look at me. I've worked real hard to become a billionaire, and now I'm running for governor as a Republican. Anyone can do it. Thank you for your daily heart. Me love soulfully. Hey, Jamie, welcome in. So that's what we're talking about today, and I'm just kind of going through this. Now, these are words, thank you for your daily heart, me. These are words that he said out his own mouth. Work brings dignity, purpose, and independence. If you want to sit on your butt, binge watching Netflix and eating Cheetos, do it with your own money. So I'm like, that is more bootstrapperism, with the whole, like, I worked my way out of poverty because I was, you know, aged out of foster care, and look at me now, I'm doing amazing and great things. All right, let's continue. This candy done gone real bad, real bad, real quick. Okay, on his campaign website, Jackson broadly pledges to audit every government program for results and effectiveness, but more prominent have been his promises to cut state income tax in half and freeze property taxes and tuition at public universities. Thank you so much for the shares, love soulfully. Thank you for being here. That is like more Republican rhetoric. What's everyone's political stance? If you feel comfortable sharing, share. But, you know, I'm just sharing this article because, like I said, it starts off so sweet that there is someone that survived foster care and was able to turn their life around in a way that they became a multi-billionaire, and then is now running for governor of Georgia as a Republican. But, you know, he's really leaning into his lived experience, which, you know, awesome, good. But at the same time, when it comes to his policies and his plans, then he's like church mouse quiet about it. All right, let's see. A section labeled "Protect the Children." Okay, so he's mentioning it on his campaign website, states that as governor, Jackson would ban ideological indoctrination in schools. He also vows to ensure that boys do not compete in girls' sports or use girls' bathrooms or locker rooms, in keeping with MAGA policies aimed at trans youth. It's like, you worried about the wrong things. Oh my God. Okay. Georgia does not publish data tracking this population, but one 2019 study from California found that about 30% of youth in foster care identify as LGBTQ plus and 5% as transgender. Those figures compare to 11% and 1% of children not involved with the child welfare system. So, like I said, this is candy that is gone bad. The sweet is completely gone, because the sweet was just in the title. The sweet was just like, oh, okay, he's a former foster youth and he worked hard and now he's a billionaire and now he's running for governor. Doing who favors? Not children and families. He claims he wants to really help out foster parents. Everything froze for me. Am I frozen? Oh, Lord. It doesn't look frozen for me. I hope I'm not froze still. Oh no, Alana said I'm frozen too. Is it just me or is she? Oh God. How am I not frozen for me, but I'm frozen for y'all? Oh, now you're back. Okay, good. That was weird. What did y'all hear last? Okay, good. What did you hear last? Because I don't want to backtrack too much. Okay, good. I'm glad. Okay, so did y'all hear what I was saying about how he's really leaning into his lived experience as a former foster youth turned billionaire now running for governor? They didn't. Oh, okay. Yeah. So instead of his entire platform being about children and families, oh, thank you. Children and families and supporting foster parents, which he thinks are the heroes of child welfare, his policies are supporting MAGA and focusing on attacks on gender non-conforming people. Hey, also millennial, welcome in. That must be that MAGA Wi-Fi. I don't know. I hope not. So this candy is going bad. It's gone completely bad. It started out kind of sweet, and now it's just, ugh. Okay. All right, here we go. He said, when I'm governor, if you can work, you will work. All right, Jackson posted to Facebook recently, working brings dignity, purpose, and independence. Oh yeah, I read that already. If you want to sit around on your butt, binge, watch Netflix, and eat Cheetos, do it with your own money. So that's what he thinks about people that are getting some sort of assistance, that they're just sitting around watching Netflix, eating Cheetos, which is a complete lie. Oh my gosh. And this is a bootstrapperism mentality that he would be bringing into the seat as governor if he became the governor of Georgia. All right, so here we go. In contrast, I'm sorry. Republicans in Congress share that view. Last year, they eliminated a work requirement exemption from the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, meaning SNAP, for young people who have aged out of foster care. So basically, to me, that doesn't add up. To me, that does not add up. How are you going to say, if you want to sit around eating Cheetos, do it with your own money, like basically like get a job. Don't look at me to help you or anything. But then, I guess that does track. But then eliminate the work requirement to get SNAP for young people that age out of foster care. So if I'm aging out of foster care and I can't get a job, I haven't gotten a job, and then I want to get SNAP, it's like some work. There was a work requirement that they've kind of eliminated. Wow. All right, let's continue. In contrast, Foster Club, a prominent national advocacy group, argues that unemployment And underemployment rates among former foster youth are substantially higher than their peers due to a long history of systemic disinvestment, instability, and trauma. Right. Yeah, job market is trash, especially now. Yes, at least in LA. Everywhere, not just in LA, everywhere. Let me see where we're. Oh, yeah. So if you've had instability and trauma, it's going to be harder for you to be trying to get a job. Period. And people need to realize that. Like, even people that don't have trauma are struggling to find employment and piecing together a part-time job here, a quarter of a time job here. Like, yeah, no matter what, unless you can't work, you still need to eat. You know what? I'm glad you said that, because when I was growing up, I was taught if you don't work, you don't eat. Like, if you don't work, oh well, starve. Like, that is kind of the mentality I grew up with. Like, you gotta hustle. If you don't work, you don't eat. And I had to live a little bit more to see what was wrong with that. I had to live a little bit longer to see what was wrong with that. All right, let me see. All right, and the new SNAP rules would worsen their prospects, according to the advocates. How can you work without eating? Well, they say desperation breeds creativity. If I'm gonna starve to death, I'm gonna get real creative about. Did you adopt the thoughts? For a period of time, I did. For a period of time, I really did believe that. And if things weren't going well for me, oh well, that's on me. I need to figure it out. Help, like, no. Yeah, I did grow up with the mentality that, your mama don't live here, so that's when doing crimes happens. Yes, exactly, because desperate times call for desperate measures. I agree 100%. But like I said, I needed to live a little bit longer and experience a little bit more life to see what's wrong with that way of thinking. All right, so let's go. Along with the Republicans Jackson will face off against next week, 7 Democrats are also vying for the office. Keisha Lance Bottoms, former mayor of Atlanta, is the leading Democrat in the polls. Okay, so he's got some opposition. Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones is endorsed by President Donald Trump and is Jackson's most formidable opponent in the crowded Republican race. So there's a lot of Republicans that want to, yeah. Glad you did. Me too. I had similar mindsets that were so effed up. Right. Yeah, because how can we not when we're this stuff is just crammed into us, just over and over. Propaganda is just crammed into us, Hallmark syndrome all the way around. You don't work, you don't eat. If you can't figure it out, you're a loser. If you don't get me started. I can go on and on. All right. So let's see. The 2 candidates have tossed barbs throughout the campaign, including tussles about Jones's past, praise of Jackson's foster care advocacy, which was later used against Jones in an attack ad. So they fighting. That's just the game, right? So glad some youth use their minds. Some do. Oh wow, I got a few comments that were, what kind of politics are you talking? Hey Melody. So I'm talking about the money and politics of foster care and adoption, and right now the story that I'm sharing with y'all is about hopeful candidate Rick Jackson, who went from, stop looking at the numbers. Oh, you answered that already. Okay, thank you. All right. So I'm going to continue on with the information, with the tea. All right, here we go. All right, Jones was then quoted in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution saying Jackson was willing to do anything to get a vote, even using vulnerable foster children as a political prop to garner support. which it does kind of sound like that. If he's out there like, look at me, I'm a former foster youth, and I was able to pull myself up by my own bootstraps to become a billionaire with a B, not an M, with a B, and now I'm running for governor. And if you don't work, oh well, you want to do nothing with your life, then do it on your own dime, like to have this type of mentality. But then when you look at his plans and policies he's putting together, it has nothing to do with former foster youth and foster parents. He's kind of focused on this whole gender identity in bathrooms and bathroom policing, which, yeah, it does kind of sound like maybe his opponent is kind of right. All right, here we go. Okay, a childhood in foster care. The story Jackson has told about his tumultuous childhood is the stuff of country ballads. Oh, a father who walked out when he was a baby, a mother who struggled with alcohol, and to pull yourself up by your bootstraps ethos. So even though she was struggling with alcoholism, she too also had absorbed this whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps, which probably caused a lot of self-hate and self-doubt, and you can't get nowhere with that. In fact, he did set that tale to song in a campaign music video, oh gosh, featuring a guitar slinging crooner whose juxtaposes Jackson's hard scrabble upbringing against the suited, successful version of him today. Oh, we got to see it. We got to see that. Like, what? Oh my God. Okay, we're going to keep going. Maybe I'll figure out a way to share it in the chat. All right, here we go. So that is really, really leaning into his lived experience to gain votes, but then not really doing anything past that. All right, Jackson has said he entered the child welfare system at 13. So he wasn't a baby. He wasn't like in foster care as an infant. He was a preteen. He was a teenager, okay? 13, and cycled through 5 foster homes and now a shuttered orphan's home. So he had been through a lot in life, dealing with a father that left and a mother that suffered with alcoholism, and probably had a lot of anger towards her not being able to pull these boots up. Oh, thank you for reminding me. I'll be getting into the story. Yes, I do need to shift gears. We gonna have to do a part 2 with this one. Oh, thank you. We're gonna have to do a part 2 because, yes, I'm supposed to be shifting gears into Superfans meeting. Y'all, let me see how much more we had to go. Oh yeah, we have quite a ways to go with this information. And there's so much more to talk about. Yes, we have so much information to discuss about how our narratives are used, either for us or against us. Did they confirm? No, not that I know of. But I haven't really looked at. But unfortunately, I do have to shift gears. As informative and interesting as this is, it just makes my brain go have more questions. As many questions that get answered, more questions pop up. All right. I think we're going to play the money song again because that was fun, I thought. And then we're going to call it a night for now. I think we're going to continue tomorrow. All right. Tomorrow we're going to finish this conversation. Live your wild and wonderful life because you deserve it.